Speaking of Detroit, weren't y'all on stage the
Oh,
night that NWA, the police,
the night they got chalked off the stage?
for saying F the police?
Yes.
You were hosting that
We
night.
were filming an episode of Yo MTV Raps.
Can you tell me about that night?
Yes, I can. It was vivid. Simple and plain. We were all there. We were all talking and hanging out from, locker room to locker room. This is when they were first, this was before the Chronic and Snoop and all of them and DOC. And they were going out and they were told not to perform F the police. And they said, and they asked us, what do you think we should do? I said, yo, it's up to y'all, really. I said, but that's censorship. They can't tell you. People want to hear that song. You should do that. You do what you do. So out of a consensus, that's what they wanted to do. Ed and I were actually on the stage with the camera, filming it. And it started. And Q came out, fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Young man got a bag, comes on brown. Fuck the police. And the crowd now is losing it. Jumping, and you could barely hear what he's saying because everybody's doing it. And I don't have the footage, but I know somebody does. You see one of the security and/or officers, whatever you want to call it, because he wasn't in a uniform, throw the M80 onto the stage, and you hear boom, 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 and everybody scatters. But then when you watch Straight Outta Fiction, Compton, I sit there and go, how do you tell your tale like you were on radio stations all over the country? You were not. Because those stations didn't exist till Ed and I were on Hot 97. Mm-hmm. So let's just do a timeline. What year did Straight Outta Compton come out?
The actual record, Straight Outta Compton? Mm-hmm. What is that? 88, 89, somewhere in there?
89. Mm-hmm. Let's say 89 to 90. How many hip-hop radio stations were around the country?
Almost none.
Thank you.
Almost none.
So how do you make the movie and say, oh, yeah, you had K-Day out there in L.A. You had certain things locally that you were popular on. But even then, you couldn't play some of those records. You had to edit them. What made you who you were? Isn't that why Jerry Heller and I were sending us stuff and flying us back and forth, Ed Love and Dr. Dre? Because Yo MTV Raps today. Fab Five Freddy went out there and did one. They liked us more on the daily thing. They flew us out there more times. Now, did I get a gold record, a platinum record, or anything? Not even a thank you. But it didn't matter. We in hip hop. Rap music, baby. Represent.
Speaking of Yo, again, your celebrity is through the roof. Ted Demme, co-producer of Yo MTV Raps.
No, producer of Yo MTV Raps.
The producer.
Yes. Peter Doherty was a supervisor. He was like the executive producer.
He went on to put you guys in major feature film.
Go ahead, finish your question.
Now you're going from host to having a film that centers around you and Ed, who's the man.
Yes.
What was that experience like? And at this point, are you absorbing, I'm a kid from Long Island.
I'm a fat kid, black kid from Long Island. A little different. And I'm not a part of the Fat Boys. Love the Fat Boys. But it was like, movie. So we had been dangling the idea for a long time.
When because you say then we found out who's we?
Ed and I and Ted. And Ted's uncle was Jonathan Demme. Mm-hmm. And again, a lot of this is in the book, Dr. Dre, the episodes, 1989 to 1995. I'll tell you a brief, quick story about it. And we wanted to do a movie, but we didn't. MTV wanted us to do a movie with them first. But we saw Joe's Apartment about the roaches. We said, no, not doing that, buddy. Not going to do that. So we had a dinner, honestly, with his uncle, Jonathan Demme, and he loved us. And he said he had a project he was working on, and when he completes that project, he would like to examine that idea. He thought it would be a great idea, and he wanted to be a part of our career with that. Well, like, great. But Ed was anxious, and he said, we don't know how long this is going to last. We need to do something now. So he convinced our manager, Charles Stetler, great man, worked with us many years, and kept us in step. A lot of stuff we did was before all these other people came in our lives. Mm-hmm. Ed and I sat down with our agent and a writer, Seth Greenland, and wrote Who's the Man. They shopped it with Suzanne DePass and her company to New Line, and we got the deal. But we were in search of a director at the time. At first, we said Ted, and they rejected Ted. And we were like, but Ted knows us well. We should get Ted. Charlie went and fought for Ted. They made a side agreement that they would do it with Ted if his uncle would oversee it. You know, I guess a word of mouth thing or nothing written on paper. And that's how Ted got, but it was Charles Stetler who had fought for Ted to get the job to shoot Who's the Man with us. Because Ted had no experience. I, matter of fact, invested in Ted's short movie called The Bet. And I'm in it with him that he shot. And you can see it on, I forgot, it was on so-and-so film, IFC. Because people tell me, yo, I saw you in this movie. You were playing a boss, I think. I said, really? Yeah. I said, oh, The Bet. Oh, yeah, I did that with Ted. I financed it for him. He came to me and said, yo, Dre, I need to borrow X amount of dollars. I don't want to give it away because, you know, I love Ted. And I should have known something was wrong with that because Ed didn't give him no money, and I did. But I felt, again, hip-hop, baby, rap music, love you. That's what we do. So I did that. And we fought for Ted to direct Who's the Man.
That movie was a who's who in hip-hop. It was almost an extension of the final episode of Yo. Y'all had it.
In revert. But I'm going to give you one little clip.
It was in 93, correct?
Yes, that no one knows about Who's the Man.
Mm-hmm.
There was a huge storm at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it threw our shooting off down in Brooklyn. We were supposed to shoot this other scene in Brooklyn. On that weekend when we had off, we were supposed to, Ed and I, go to Philadelphia for a cameo, big cameo in a funny movie by these two unknown actors. They were just kind of starting out getting their stuff together. What's that guy's name? Hanks. Tom Hanks. He was one. And he was with this other guy. What's his name? He's not that popular. He's only done a few films. Denzel Washington. Jonathan Demme directed the movie Philadelphia. And he called and said, I want you to do this scene. It needs something to lift it up. And your two personalities will be perfect. So, well, could you send us the things? There are no words. You're going to come down and improvise the whole thing. Just do it. Everybody's waiting for y'all to come down. Hurricane hits. We can't do it. We can't do it. Because we had to do the reshoot for Who's the Man.
Mm.
So no hurricane. Who knows? And the Oscar goes to those two gentlemen over there who showed up for this improv in a movie called Philadelphia about a serious topic concerning AIDS. Yeah.
AIDS, a very serious topic.
We were supposed to be in Philadelphia.